Hello, and welcome to Global Talent Link's IABC BookQuest of Diary of a Young Girl by Otto Frank. This is session 2. In session 1, you are challenged to write in your own diary or journal about your first couple weeks home during the COVID-19 quarantine. Right back when schools were initially closed for about 2 weeks. Were you excited? Did your feelings change from excitement when you realized you couldn't go out and hang out with your friends during those 2 weeks? Maybe you were sad, even surprised that schools would be closed unexpectedly. We also have a video. In this video, you will learn about the infamous diary. Let's talk about our reading. For this session, we read diary entries dated June 14th, 1942, up to and including October 20th, 1942. So Anne received her diary for her 13th birthday, and she wrote a note. And I quote, "I hope I shall be able to confide in you completely, as I've never been able to do in anyone before, and I hope that you will be a great support and comfort to me." We quickly learn that while Anne says she's popular, she talks about hanging out with her friends, she talks about her schoolmates, she feels alone and doesn't have a true friend. She writes in her diary as if it's a person, and she names it Kitty. Despite what's going on with the war, her diary entries kind of initially depict a typical teenager's feelings. Her day-to-day dealings, which include going to school and having some boy admirers. However, on June 20th, she talks about how her life has been affected by the time. The Franks are originally from Germany, but they emigrated to Holland with Hitler rising to power. But eventually, the Germans arrived to Holland as well, and Jewish orders followed. In spite of the restrictions, she seems to have an optimistic attitude. Another quote that I want to share. "So we could not do this, and were forbidden to do that. But life went on in spite of it all. Jopi used to say to me, 'You're scared to do anything because it may be forbidden.' Our freedom was strictly limited, yet things were still bearable." Because of what's been going on, her father has been preparing for the family to go into hiding. Suddenly, that day has come to do so when Margot receives a notice to report to a labor camp. So quickly and abruptly, the family moves into the secret annex. The secret annex is part of Mr. Frank's office building. And the Franks are joined by the Van Daan family. As more and more Jewish people were sent the call-up notices. And life in these close quarters quickly become filled with tension. And Anne is writing about these arguments and these quarrels between Mr. and Mrs. Van Daan, Mrs. Van Daan and Anne and her mother. While you were reading these entries, did you think about your time during quarantine? Maybe in your own house, there's been a lot of tension with everybody spending more time together. What other reactions did you have while you were reading? Were you able to make some other connections between how Anne feels as a teenager and your own feelings? I've included some vocabulary words from these first entries. If you click on the word, it'll bring you to dictionary.com where you can read the definition and also be able to hear how the word is correctly pronounced. Our first group activity We will use breakout rooms. Your mission will be to work together in small groups to answer these 4 questions. When did Anne get her diary? Who is Kitty? What was Anne's life like before she went into hiding? And why did Anne become so famous? You will work together to answer those questions. And then we will watch this video to see how well you and your group did to answer those questions. This video kind of gives us some more information about Anne and some answers to frequently asked questions about her. We have some questions. These questions will help discuss just some general things during these diary entries. It'll also kind of be a good check-in to see that we're understanding what's going on. So we have 6 questions here on the slide that we may go through, and another 5 on this slide. But I also want to give you all the opportunity. As you are reading, did you come up with your own questions? So we'll have an opportunity to kind of have discussions led by you as well. These discussions could be related to the reading or, again, talk about the topics that are being discussed. The Frank family, World War II, Adolf Hitler, the Nazis, and what they believed. For our next session, session 3, your mission will be to read the diary entries of October 29th, 1942, up to and including April 1st, 1943. Again, feel free to take notes while you are reading in your journal. And then your writing assignment. Write about what items you would want to take with you if you had to go into hiding. You only have 1 hour to prepare, and you won't be able to return. You're also not going to be able to carry a suitcase because it would be obvious if you were carrying a suitcase that you were going to go into hiding. So how would you disguise these items? How would you carry them? And as a bonus, if you come up with questions while you're reading, feel free to share them in the chat. Please let me know if you have any questions. Until next time, my friends.